Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. In a faraway land, there lived a princess named Snow White, whose cheeks were red like apples and whose heart was full of kindness. Snow White was so gentle that all the animals in the forest were her closest friends. However, the arrogant queen of the castle was a bit jealous of this. The queen had a magic mirror, and every day she would ask it, "Mirror, mirror, on the wall, who is the most special one of all?" The mirror would always answer, "You are very special, my queen, but the kindness in Snow White's heart makes her more special than anyone." Upon hearing this answer, the queen would pout and didn't want Snow White to be loved so much. One day, succumbing to her jealousy, she called Snow White to her side and said, "Go find new friends deep in the forest. I don't want to see you for a while." Heartbroken but hopeful, Snow White made her way into the forest. Little birds and cute rabbits accompanied her. Deep in the forest, she found a tiny, charming cottage. The door was so small she had to stoop to enter. Inside, everything was very small: 7 little chairs, 7 little plates, and upstairs 7 little beds. "Whoever lives here must be very tired," Snow White thought, and with her kind heart, she began to tidy up and cook a delicious soup. When evening came, the owners of the house arrived. They were 7 lovable dwarfs who worked in the nearby mines: Doc, Happy, Sleepy, Grumpy, Bashful, Sneezy, and Dopey. At first they were surprised to see a stranger in their house, but when they smelled the wonderful soup Snow White had cooked and saw how she had cleaned the place, they realized how kind-hearted she was. They gave Snow White a place to stay, and they became the best of friends. But the queen learned from her magic mirror that Snow White was happy. Her jealousy grew even more. She disguised herself as an old peddler woman and went to the dwarf's cottage. In her hand, she held a shiny, bright red, magical apple. This apple wasn't poisonous, but it was a sleeping apple that would make whoever ate it fall into a deep sleep. Snow White felt sorry for the old woman and took the apple with a thank you. As soon as she took a bite, she fell to the ground in a deep sleep. When the dwarves returned home and found Snow White sleeping, they were very sad. They couldn't wake her up again. They loved her so much that they made a beautiful bed of glass and flowers and placed it in the prettiest corner of the forest. They visited her every day and sang their favorite songs. One day, a kind-hearted prince who had previously seen Snow White in the castle garden talking to animals and admired her kindness, noticed the dwarf's sadness while riding through the forest. The prince remembered Snow White when he saw her sleeping. Seeing how sad the dwarfs were, he said, "Perhaps what will awaken her is the sound of her happiest moments." And all together, the dwarves and the prince began to sing Snow White's favorite, most cheerful song. Their voices were so sincere and full of love that the spell of the magical sleep was broken. Snow White opened her eyes and smiled when she saw all her friends around her. At that moment, everyone understood that the real magic was the love and joy of friends.